So Blake Lively has just dismissed all her emotional distress claims. Then the judge has came down and said that she has to do it with prejudice and not without prejudice. Of course, you're never going to throw one over on Brian Friedman. They tried to put these charges through without prejudice, means that she could come back and refile them at another time. But of course, thank God the judge came down and hammered that down and said, no, it has to be with prejudice, so she can't come back and try to bring this up again. One thing I find that's going on that's very interesting is Blake Lively is trying to get her brigade of all these women rights organization. There's a bunch of them banding together about domestic abuse and how we're not about the victim and the Me Too movement. But it's so hard when someone is like, when you can see it's complete bullshit. And this psychologist came out just this past weekend on Australia Sky News talking about what I've said all along. I made a video back in March about how I call bullshit on that whole scene and that was pretty much what she's judging her emotional distress about, is that whole dancing scene that she did not know that the volume was on. And she was trying to throw it over on everybody. Oh my God, I'm so distressed. Anyways, I did a video about this, and I broke down frame by frame in this video where I call absolute bullshit on her just emotional distress claim. But anyways, I'm going to show you this video from the psychologist, and then the video I did like 3 months earlier, and I am no psychologist, but I could just see from a mile away that she was crushing on him. And the way I looked at it, and I think everybody should look at it, is like, if it was your daughter, if it was your child, like, look at that scene and go, if that was my daughter, would I be like, oh my God, someone's like in her space, or, taking advantage of her? I think we have such an instinct, a motherly instinct on, or just parent instinct on these things, that if you feel like your child is in any kind of distress, you would feel it. You would feel it inside. And so when I watched this video, all I could feel was that, holy shit, she's crushing on this guy. So anyways, it's interesting what the psychologist has to say. And then I'm going to play you the video that I did months ago that just literally breaks down frame to frame where I call bullshit on this. So guys, let me know your opinion. My name's Delania. I'm just kind of breaking down this whole Blake Lively bullshit. So stick with me. I'm going to show you this video and then the video I did earlier. So have a look at this.
I mean, right. The case, they were able to get the whole, the full file of it. So anyhow, what I think happened was that she was trying to say that he came on to her in this movie. Now he's married, not that married men don't come on to women, but he seems happily married. And really what I think happened is that she got into her character tremendously, like good actors are supposed to do. And I think she was starting to fall for him. And she was very uncomfortable with that possibility because, of course, she's married. And that made her all very uncomfortable. And so at the end, she just decided to blame him for sexual harassment rather than facing and acknowledging her own feelings. I mean, one of the things that I do is besides being an expert witness, I work with movies and television shows as a psychiatric consultant. So I've been on sets where there are sex scenes or romantic scenes, all kinds of scenes. And so I know, I'm looking at that and from that eye, and I think she's just way out of line, and this thing has just taken on a life of its own, and now things are not looking good for her. And I wonder if her husband, how much longer he's going to stay supporting her, because this has just really blown up.
So right there, I really think that she's explained, and that's one of the things I said in the other video too, is that I think what happened was Ryan Reynolds came back and he saw what was going on, and he had that kind of gut feeling that I had when I watched this video, that she was crushing on him, and that's why he ended up going to the set all the time. And I think that in her defense to him was like, oh no, it's not me, it's him that's coming on to me. Well, and then if he's coming on to you, that's sexual harassment. You should be saying something if he's sexually harassing you. But I really I think it was her all along. So anyways, here is the video that I did 3 months ago, and like I said, let me know what your thoughts. But literally frame by frame, you can see the bullshit that is being spewed. And that's what is just, I think, has gotten everybody up in arms because, like you said, you don't have to be a psychologist to see this.
Way, if you've been in a relationship like this, that you would ever do these things. So stick with me. I'm going to show you from the video where I call BS. Stay tuned. So here are the kind of 4 points that I picked out from this video that I feel that kind of someone would never do if they were in any kind of uncomfortable situation. The first one was when she's dancing with Justin Baldoni, she kind of puts her arm right around him and pulls him closer. I really think that if you're with someone who's making you that uncomfortable, you kind of push away and try to hold your distance. There's ways to dance kind of apart. The next one is when she starts kind of joking with the guy behind her. If you were feeling extremely uncomfortable, you're not laughing. And you can tell in this scene that she's like genuinely laughing and kind of acting kind of like throwing her hair back in a kind of flirtatious way. And when he kind of nuzzles her neck and kind of pushes her hair, he kind of comes up, and then she on the other side pushes her hair out of the way so that he can nuzzle her neck. Like, why would you open yourself up if you kind of feeling like you're being vulnerable or someone is invading your space unwarrantedly? You shut yourself up. You kind of pull back. You don't necessarily pull forward. There's a way to do this scene without having to pull closer. And again, she's got her arms wrapped around him, and even when he tries to cut, and you can see that he's kind of all business. She's still holding on to him. So if there's any kind of break and you're feeling uncomfortable, you kind of let it go. Let it go. The last point is when she's talking about her shoes. If you're feeling uncomfortable and you're in a vulnerable situation, you feel like you're being harassed. I'm telling you, the last thing that you're going to worry about is your sparkly shoes. If that's what's on your mind, to me, that shows what she's thinking about. And what she's thinking about is not being in an uncomfortable situation. She's thinking about them getting a shot of her sparkly shoes. So overall, it's like, it's disappointing. And I'm with Candace Owens on this one. I have 3 boys. So we are super sensitive, us boy moms, about our boys being put in a situation where it's a Me Too kind of statement.
Anyway, so that is was my take on the whole scene. I just, like I said, I think it's absolute complete bullshit that she's spewing. And like I said, look at it from a parental point of view, because you're just you feel when your kid's in danger. And I look at that, the only thing I saw is that was my daughter. The first thing I'd be thinking, oh my God, she is crushing on that guy. And that's exactly what happened. And it's like, the psychologist is just seeing the obvious. And I think we all see the obvious. It's just sometimes when people come out and say it, and those other organizations that are just so up in the Me Too movement thing that they just can't, they're just blinded. They can't see what's right in front of them. They're so worried about their message that they're forgetting to look for the truth. And for me, the truth is that she completely is just over exaggerating. She's trying to protect herself from her husband, who actually saw what we all just saw, is that she is not being, that right there is the whole premise of her case, was that scene. That was kind of like the crux of it all. And if you can see sexual harassment in that video, please send me a note. Love to see it. Love to see your take on this. And anyways, interested in what your comments, please like, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.